Howdy there, friends. UFC 298 is upon us. Saturday is right around the corner. We've got a main event to speak briefly about. UFC 298 features a matchup at featherweight, a title fight with a lot on the line. We've got Ilia Topuria coming in with a tremendous amount of confidence, an unblemished record, and he's looking to storm in and dethrone Alex Volkanovski. Alex Volkanovski, who took a head kick by the way of Islam Makhachev and took some time away, got his head right. Now he's back, and we see a tremendous change in the betting line. If that fight had not happened, these odds would be much, much differently than what we see today. We think not too far back, and Alex Volkanovski was tearing the head off of Korean Zombie. He was completely annihilating Yair Rodriguez. He was surviving and thriving against Brian Ortega. And now Volkanovski, 35 years of age, perhaps he's slowing down a bit, maybe not. And how much stock do you put into the losses to Islam Makhachev? Losses that took place up at 155 pounds. And we also have to consider that Islam Makhachev possibly weighed, 170, 175, 180 when they were inside of the octagon competing against one another. And now he's taking on Ilia Topuria, who is a bit of a freight train. Now, when you're taking on opponents who their self-belief is through the roof, there is occasionally a breaking point that happens at a certain point of the fight. And I'm interested to see if this fight hits the later rounds, how Ilia Topuria is going to react in rounds 4 and 5. Now, folks might say, look no further than the Josh Emmett fight. He was brutally beating Topuria was brutally beating Josh Emmett throughout the course of that matchup. And he was facing a power puncher. And now Alex Volkanovski comes in here, and he's taking on a Topuria who has competed down at bantamweight. Granted, that was quite some time ago. You look at the reach advantage here, significant reach advantage for Alex Volkanovski. The kicking game of Volkanovski could come into play here. I have a lengthy history of betting on both of these fighters. And when I've watched the tape and I've researched Ilia Topuria's ground game and I've seen him pour it on many a fighter, he's not someone you want to sleep on if the fight hits the mat. You talk about taking chances. I have concerns for Volkanovski if these two end up on the mat for a significant amount of time. We saw Volkanovski's head turn a grape-like purplish red color as Volkanovski was caught in a submission attempt, and he was not tapping. He was looking for a way to escape that, and he ended up coming out the other side victorious. Now Topuria, the hands are going to be on full display. And you watch the Jai Herbert matchup. Yes, Topuria was wobbled in that fight. Wasn't necessarily tested big time against Bryce Mitchell. And here in this matchup, I think that we're going to see fireworks within the first few minutes. And I can see Ilia Topuria smirking his way across the octagon. These two are likely going to be making some interesting facial expressions throughout the course of the fight. I see a little gamesmanship going on. And as I mentioned previously, I have a very long track record of success betting on both of these fighters. I'm going to share some of it with you. And you can see I posted it on Twitter recently that I bet on Alex Volkanovski against Jeremy Kennedy. at minus 195 and minus 170. Alex Volkanovski to beat Darren Elkins. Alex Volkanovski to beat Chad Mendes. Now, we know we watched back that Chad Mendes fight, and there were some scary moments in that fight, but the cardio for Alex Volkanovski, when push came to shove, that was an incredible performance. I bet on Volkanovski against Jose Aldo at plus 122. I was on Volkanovski against Max Holloway in all three of his fights, and he walked away victorious. Now, you could say that was a money train, but all good things eventually come to an end. And you look at how I've bet on Ilya Topuria throughout the years, and I bet on Topuria against Yusuf Zalal at plus 143 as a significant underdog. I was on Topuria against Damon Jackson at minus 195. I was on Topuria against Ryan Hall at minus 225 and minus 230. I took an ARB opportunity when he fought Bryce Mitchell. I played both sides of that fight. Now you look at this fight, and I took a similar approach here in that I got in on Topuria when he was at plus 164. And you watch back the footage of Topuria and the level of confidence that he has. Does he really want to poke the bear against Alex Volkanovski? Because that's what he's done in the lead up to this matchup, and he's made it a grudge match. So I've played both sides here. I've arbed, got in on Volkanovski at minus 110, played Topuria at plus 164, and the way this fight unfolds, unless we see a no contest, or a draw, then I should end up having a profitable night here. And one of the things, the complexion of this fight has changed for me somewhat as I've watched the lead up to this matchup. Volkanovski has a point to prove, and yes, the young gun Ilya Topuria could come out here and shock the world and really put it on Alex Volkanovski. There are no certainties in this game, as we well know. I think that the cardio edge clearly favors Volkanovski here. I don't see him getting tired the longer the fight goes. I think he's going to ramp up the intensity if it gets there. And there's a possibility that Topuria takes Volkanovski out of this fight early. I think that is a real challenge for Volkanovski, in that he's going to be playing with fire early and often. The feints should be on full display throughout from Volkanovski here. Topuria, in a way, he will lull you in, and then his striking is so precise. It's beautiful to watch Ilya Topuria. I do have concerns about Topuria's gas tank if he's pushed. I think that could come into play here the longer this fight goes. And this is a very, very closely lined fight. As previously mentioned, I got in on Topuria at plus 164. I also played Volkanovski at minus 110. So there's an ARB situation here where I'll be profiting. But if you're asking me to make a pick here, I think that Volkanovski, he has proven himself time and time again. He should not have taken that second Islam Makhachev matchup. That rematch, he did not do himself any favors. Got blown out of the water early. And I heard from his team in a previous interview, one of his coaches mentioned that he was looking to get in as many cash grabs as he can in the next 1 to 2 years, and then he's going to retire. Well, I'll tell you what, he risks his legacy here against Ilya Topuria, who is a young gun who's coming in hot, and he not only has the ground game, I believe he's the more powerful striker, but he tends to Topuria load up at times. And Volkanovski is a bit unpredictable. He's more of a bowling ball when he's out there. I remember watching his fight against Jeremy Kennedy, and he's continued to evolve. And that's what I like about him in his mid-30s here. He's continued to level up time and time and time again. And you look at his fights at 145 pounds. Alex Volkanovski is going to push. And you talk about having that championship mentality, being battle tested. He is battle tested, but has he taken one too many? Has the previous fight against Islam Makhachev instilled some doubt in Alex Volkanovski? I believe that is a cause for concern here. So there is a possibility for Topuria to come in and shock the world and walk away victorious. You look at the odds here, plus 105 currently for Topuria. That's a far cry from where I got in at plus 164. So the pick's going to be Volkanovski. I think that if this hits the later rounds, round 4, round 5, you could see Topuria really start to slow down. But I am not counting Ilia Topuria out of this fight. I realize that he has a very special talent, and at only 27 years of age, he also has a very talented brother who's a fighter. His confidence is through the roof. I think that both of these fighters have the ability to win this fight. As I mentioned previously, there are no certainties in this game, so you want to put yourself in solid positions, and I believe that we have here. I'm going to be picking Volkanovski to walk away with the victory, and I'm rooting for a tremendous battle. I want to see Topuria get battle tested against someone the caliber of Alex Volkanovski. I'd like to see this fight hit the third round, midway through the third round. If this fight hits the midway point of the third round, we should learn a lot about Topuria. The fight against Josh Emmett did not necessarily speak to me, although I saw that he really took care of a power puncher and destroyed a power puncher. So fascinating matchup. Volkanovski is going to be the pick, and I am rooting for a tremendous, tremendous fight. Thank you for tuning in on this festive evening, Wednesday evening, as we march towards Saturday, UFC 298. Let's go. Have a great day, my brothers.